Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christina Worcester, and in this video, I have a mission. The Cuyahoga Falls Winter Reading Challenge begins January 5th, 2026. As of the time that I am filming the introduction to this video, that is in less than 24 hours. Adults have 8 milestones to complete, winning raffle tickets, digital badges, and physical prizes along the way. And once all 8 milestones are completed, they win the Holy Grail, the limited edition mug. I want that mug, but there are only 200 of them. If I'm serious about getting this mug, I can't just be reading 1 book a week. I need to be reading harder. And that is why I am going to speedrun the Cuyahoga Falls Library's winter reading program. So what I have to do in as short of a time frame as possible is check out 8 physical items from the library, read for 10 hours, check out 2 digital items from the library, rate 5 items in the library catalog, visit the makerspace, attend a library program, watch a movie based on a book, and stream a title on Canopy. Now, my strategy to achieve this mug is actually quite simple. So I will be sleeping until 10 a.m., which is when you can officially register for the reading challenge. At which point I will then finish the audiobook of Say a Little Prayer by Jenna Voris, of which I have 3 chapters remaining. After reading and reviewing Say a Little Prayer, I will then be engaging in a pattern of book, movie, book, movie, book. I have been told that I am a fast reader, so I expect to be able to get 5 books done in 10 hours, but just in case I do not, I will of course be reading more. The problem child, as it were, is attending a library event because I don't really know what library events are going to be going on that I would want to go to, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. So yeah, that is it for now. I will be checking in with you all later once the reading program has actually started and periodically updating you all on my progress. All right, it is officially January 5th, which means that the Cuyahoga Falls Winter Reading Program has started. I have finished my first book, Say a Little Prayer by Jenna Voris. You can hear all about that in my Everand investigation video, part 1. So I have read for about 40 minutes of the 10 hours that are required of me. And this is because even though it is almost noon, I actually do have good reasons. I had to eat food. I had to help my mom get signed up for this same winter reading program. I had to go to the bathroom. I had to rate my book, which wasn't working on my phone, but was working on the computer. So that was a whole thing. Now I am about to go to the store to buy a gift for my friend's soon-to-be 1-year-old. But mark my words, the next time you see me, I will have gotten at least an hour of that reading done. Okay, it is 3:46 p.m. I have gotten back from the store and I have finished my first hour of reading. I am currently working on reading Girl Stolen by April Henry, which is actually on my 25 before 25 list. It was recommended to me by one of my Instagram followers named Michael. I tried to finish an audiobook that I had started on Libby, but it's not working right now for some reason, so physical book it is. In terms of what I think of Girl Stolen, it's definitely a thrilling book, but it's not really much more than that, if that makes sense. Like, it's like all plot, no character development, which is like, you have to have that balance. I'm like 60% done with Girl Stolen now. It's a pretty short book. It's only 213 pages. So yeah. My thoughts about the book are mostly the same. I do have to add though that it was written in 2010, or published in 2010, I guess. And you can tell, and by that I mean there is a casual use of the R slur, which I don't remember much about 2010 because I was very busy being 8 years old. But I think it was considered more acceptable back then. But it definitely jump scared me in 2026. Okay, so I finished Girl Stolen. It was all right. Not like my favorite thriller that I've ever read, but you know, it got the blood pumping. I think it could have benefited maybe from being like 100 or so pages longer. So we could have gotten more of like character development instead of it being all plot. I will say it did read a little bit more like a middle grade book than a young adult book. So if you're looking for a book that would be appropriate for a middle schooler, I think this would be a good one to consider. All right, so it is 6:52. I haven't gotten any more reading done today yet, but I did go to the library and I checked out 8 things. So that milestone's done. I've also checked out 2 items from the digital library, so that milestone's done. And I visited the makerspace, which means I have 3 out of the 8 milestones done. Not bad for the first day. Also, I was apparently the first person to collect milestone rewards because all of the raffle baskets were empty. So there's that. So the thing about Girl Stolen, it is actually not in the library's catalog of items at all, which is kind of embarrassing for me. I mean, I feel like I should have looked before going through the trouble of reading the whole thing in a day. But it was a short book anyway, and it got me some of that precious reading time, so it's fine. What I am going to do now is watch a Hallmark movie called Adventures in Love and Birding, because it is based on a book which is apparently called Birding with Benefits. So it is 11:25 on the night of the first day of winter reading. Unfortunately, I only got 3 hours of reading done today, but I did finish 4 out of the 8 milestones, and I got a window cling and 7 raffle tickets. I will be starting a new audiobook at midnight, and then I will be going to bed, and I will be able to greet tomorrow with hopefully even more reading. The time is 12:14 p.m. and the day is January 6th, 2026. I have gotten 3.5 hours of reading done, and today, hopefully, I will get done as much as I can. I will hopefully be able to finish the audiobook for The 7 Torments of Amy and Craig, and then after that, we shall see what I read next. It is now 2:06 p.m. I have gotten a total of 5 hours and 10 minutes of reading done. I have finished The 7 Torments of Amy and Craig. I thought the book definitely got a lot better in the second half. It got a lot more real. And I enjoyed it overall, and I made sure to rate it. It is now 2:38. I had to take a little break from reading to like absorb what I had just read, but I am ready to start my next book, which is another one that's on my 25 before 25 list. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Now, full disclosure, I have technically read this book, but I was in middle school. So I figured after it was recommended to me, I ought to give it a reread. I have read for about 5.5 hours total, and I am about 46% done with A Monster Calls. It is a really good book, especially for it being in like that middle grade range. The monster is obviously like a metaphor for grief and whatever, and I think it works really well. Also, I forgot to mention that A Monster Calls was recommended to me by my friend Eva May. I finished A Monster Calls, and I really enjoyed this book. Probably a lot more than I did when I was in middle school, but I honestly don't really remember how I felt about it when I was in middle school. I just feel like I appreciate it more now. I feel like I understand it more now. And I would go as far as to say that I think this should be like required reading for adults. I have about 4 hours and 10 minutes of reading left to do for the winter reading challenge. But I am going to take a pause from reading and find something on Canopy to watch. Okay, I'm back. It is 6:16 and I have officially watched my Canopy title. It was a short film called Fired on Mars. It was filed under comedy, but it wasn't really a comedy to me. The next book that I am going to read is one that I'm reading for the Goodreads Winter Reading Challenge, and that is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I have read, I think all of her other books, but this is the first adult book she has that I will be reading. So it will be interesting to see how I like it compared to her other books. I am about 35% done with Not Quite Dead Yet, and I have officially finished 6.5 hours of reading total. I am enjoying Not Quite Dead Yet so far. It's definitely an interesting mystery, a unique premise. I obviously won't tell you guys who did it because that would be a spoiler, and we keep things relatively spoiler-free over here. But I will say, I'm very suspicious of the brother. So the bad news is I utterly failed to complete any more reading last night. It is now the 7th. But the good news is I did get to that 7th hour of reading while I was listening to my audiobook at midnight. And today is a brand new day that I can fill with 3 hours of reading. So I finished Not Quite Dead Yet. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a fun, fast-paced mystery with a unique twist in that the main character was actively dying as she was trying to solve her own murder. I also rated it, so I only have to rate one more thing. I only have to read for 2 more hours, and I still have to go to a library event. The next book that I am going to read is one that is on my 25 before 25 bingo card, and that is also eligible for the Goodreads Winter Reading Challenge. That is, of course, All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. It's a very chunky book, so we will see how far I get in 2 hours. All the Colors of the Dark was recommended to me by my grandma's sister, Mary Ellen, and I am very interested to see how this reading experience goes for me. I have officially read for another hour, and I am about 35% done with All the Colors of the Dark. I will say I don't find the book to be very interesting so far. The plot should theoretically be interesting, but the book is just written in such a dry, flavorless way that I'm just not interested. Well, it is 11:12 p.m. on January 7th, and I have officially finished my 10th hour of reading. I'm about 71% done with All the Colors of the Dark. I'll have to finish that some other time, and I will be rating a different book, I guess. So I rated my last book, which was We Fell Apart by E. Lockhart, which was the last book I read before this reading challenge began. I do feel obligated to tell you that All the Colors of the Dark is not really getting better, or if it is, it's only marginally getting better. I'm still not enjoying the experience of reading it very much, and it's just so long. Like, I am over 400 pages into this book, and it's still not done. It's not longer than The Rainmaker, but it's pretty close. Literally, the only thing I have left to do is attend a library program, and since I have literally no control over when or how that happens, I think I'm gonna cut this video off here. So I read for 10 hours, watched an hour and a half of movies, and visited the library, all in 3 days. Now that sounds like a speed run to me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure you sign up for the Murder Mystery Readathon, which will be happening this February. You're the best!